right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining the weekly press conference. We have head coach Pat Hallmark here. The roadrunners are coming off a 2-3 week, standing at 15-5 overall. Wrapped up a trip to Lubbock on Tuesday and Wednesday before hosting UT Arlington over the weekend. Took the series finale 15-8. This week, we look ahead to Houston Christian on Tuesday before visiting Florida Atlantic to open up conference play. Before we open it up to questions, and when we do, please use the raise hand feature. But first, Coach, if you could, just give us your thoughts on the week that was and what you see in the 4 games ahead.
Yeah, wins and losses, little disappointing week, but we try not to overemphasize the win and the loss. I think most of you have heard me mention before, some of that's not in our control. It's certainly the barometer that we live by, though. So again, as a head coach, you'd be silly not to pay attention. So we a little disappointed going 2-3, but overall, we kind of learned some areas we need to improve on, and we're addressing them now.
All right, JJ.
Pat, you get any sleep last night? How you feeling today?
Yeah, I slept okay. Yeah, I feel fine. Thanks.
What can you tell us about your opponents this week? Just give us a little preview of what to expect there.
Yeah, Houston Christian is improved. You know, they got a new coach last year, and he's young and hungry and ambitious. So looks like they're recruiting a little more nationally than Houston Christian usually does. I'm familiar with them because I grew up in that area. It's kind of ironic as a side note where they currently play, like their current field stadium is similar to ours. So I don't know if I'd call it a true stadium, but their current facility sits what used to be in an open field with a metal fence. It just had a metal fence as a backstop, and that's where my team, this would have been 1987 and 1988. That's where my Pony League team practiced. So it's literally just an open field with a metal fence. And my dad would bring us out there and throw down some bases, and we'd have team practice out there, which is kind of cool. I actually enjoy going back there because it's obviously nicer than that now. So, but yeah, their coach is young and energetic and hungry, ambitious, and they're recruiting more nationally, at least on the pitching staff. So they've improved. They're 10-9, I think. You know, they're bringing in some arms that are better than they usually have. A couple of them are 90, 92 mile an hour arms, so they're decent arms. So we got our work cut out for us. They just went up to Tarleton and won the series up there. I think they've won all their weekend series except for one. Their opening weekend at La Tech, they didn't win. So they've got a good club. And then on the weekend, we head over to FAU, who's always good. Kind of, I guess, a little different coach. He's been there a long time. Coach Mack's been there like 27 years or something. He knows what he's doing. Very similar to us and what FAU tries to do. They try to throw strikes. A lot of guys on their staff will be similar to our guys, strike throwers, not huge velocities. And then they love the left-handed hitter. For whatever reason, they really go after the left-handed hitters. So they've got as many as 7. I think they'll have 5 in the lineup. And they got Marshall Lipsy back, who's all-conference center fielder, leadoff hitter is back, and then a kid named Romano at third base that's really switch hitter. He was there last year too. Had a decent year, but this year he's kind of going off. So they'll have a good club as always.
Pat, do you talk to your guys about how you guys kind of have a target on your back now? Like you guys are going to get the best effort from most of these teams night in and night out.
Yeah, we started that conversation this year because we noticed it more than once. You know, Mike Trapasso over at UTA and another coach has made comments to me about beating us or playing us and what it would mean for their program. And it caught me off guard at first, like, oh, okay. Because we used to hear that at Rice. Back when I was at Rice with Wayne Graham, we would hear that all the time, you know, what it would mean to beat y'all or whatever. So, yeah, I have started that conversation with our players. I let them know that some folks look at us as a barometer, to use the word again, like it means they're doing something right if they can beat us. So, but that's what we want. You know, you and I talked a little bit about it yesterday. Like if you don't embrace those realities, the expectation of winning here now, and maybe there is a little target. The target might have got smaller after this weekend, but if you don't embrace and enjoy that and look at it as a positive, it's not gonna be beneficial. You can turn anything into a positive, or at least you can turn it into positive work and positive growth. So that's what we choose to do.
You guys are on the road this week again. Do you have to talk to your guys about like staying locked in? Because obviously, the travel and trying to get from place to place, and just going to different stadiums. Is that a different mentality versus when you're at home?
Not too much. We don't. I don't know if I've ever talked to him about staying locked in. We talk about those conversations. Probably JJ are more like about class, less about the baseball. Like these guys they're pretty locked in when you put them on a baseball field or in the batting cage or in a bullpen. Like they're very hungry, driven young people. Our players, the UTSA baseball players. So I don't really have that conversation much. I don't really sense it. It's been since my second year here. Not since that year have I felt like the players were not every bit of eager, hungry, love baseball that their coach does, that I do, and live and die with it, and just enjoy. I go home after our games and watch. Even Saturday, when we had lost the first two games, I went home and watched baseball. It's just something that brings me joy, and I like the game. And most of our players the same way. So no, we don't talk about being locked in baseball wise. We do talk about it in the classroom because it's a lot of games. They do miss a lot of class, so we got to remind them to stay locked into their academics.
What do you hope to see out of your team this week? Just some focus, just intensity, like we talked about?
Yeah, I think they'll be intense. I hope to see good defense. I hope we keep throwing strikes. So we had the blip Friday. We didn't throw strikes. And then we mostly threw strikes the next 2 days. I was not disappointed in our strike throwing Saturday and Sunday. But Friday, even Wednesday at Tech, we walked a few too many. So Wednesday and Friday, we didn't throw strikes. So, but the defense is the main thing. The defense has gone south a little bit here this weekend. So we've got to shore that up. Again, I mentioned it yesterday. Part of that is on me, just with maybe some personnel. And then it's just reps. Getting back on the dirt, I think, matters. All those games on the road after Houston, after the Astros Classic, they're all on turf, and that turf can spoil you. We see it when teams come here that play on turf. They don't always play good defense, and I don't know if that was it. Believe me, I am searching for answers. We do take a lot of reps. We do take a lot of ground balls. So the one thing that I kind of fell on was maybe we got a little spoiled on the turf at New Mexico State and Tech. Infielders can get a little lazy with their feet when you get used to playing on carpet, and then you turn back around and play on dirt. You better have good feet and be athletic. So that might have been some of it. So we will continue to work and try to address it, but I hope to see good defense.
Coach, there's been a few freshmen pitching more frequently and decently well for the Roadrunners as of late. Blaine Lyon comes to mind, Ryan Self, Jake Qualia. What have you seen out of the young pitchers that you've liked?
They're eager. They all seem eager. As we mentioned yesterday, JJ and I were talking yesterday. He asked me, just about dealing with some of the adversity and what is that like? And I mentioned aggression so much yesterday. And that's what I see out of those four guys that you mentioned. They've been aggressive. When they've gone in the game, they've been aggressive at throwing strikes. So I hope they continue to do that. Qualia had a little blip his last outing, but if you look at Qualia's body of work for the season, he has been aggressive in the strike zone. So that's what I hope to continue to see from him, is aggressive in the strike zone.
Nathan Johnson as well, another freshman who's been getting a few more at-bats as of late, has hit 2 home runs now. What has impressed you about him?
He has power. We know Nate has a lot of upside. We need a little more competitive will at times from him. When the home run's not there, just putting together some willful at-bats, which is what I think maybe UTSA baseball is kind of hang their hat on, is these hitters that are willful and gritty and don't go away. So we need to see a little bit more of that. But Nathan has a ton of upside. We really like his upside.
We had this conversation after the DBU series, but we said another program record for a 3-game series attendance averaging 1,060 fans over the weekend. Could you say anything to the fan base or just to San Antonio in general about their support?
Oh, we're grateful. Yeah, it was a terrific atmosphere all weekend. I wish we had played better. I truly mean that. I was a little disappointed in myself Friday because of the turnout of the crowd. I just thought, dadgummit, like if there's ever a game to throw 16 walks, I wish it wasn't when all these fans and kids were here. Friday, I just felt like there was a lot of kids there. It was really kind of cool. I think I mentioned multiple times that the product on the field is generally good. So I hope they come back, even though the product Friday and Saturday wasn't awesome. But they bring an atmosphere and an energy to the ballpark that's palpable, and we're grateful for it. I hope they keep coming out.
Coach, I know you previewed FAU, but if you could kind of go big picture for us, the conference as a whole, I'm not sure how much you've looked at it, but what do you see out of the American in 2026?
Yeah, it looks deep. I mentioned Tulane yesterday and the rev share and the spending they did in that portal on pitching. And I don't know the exact figures, but I know, as we dabble in the portal and we see the same kids they see, and we call them and we start talking numbers with them, and we just say, okay, well, we got to move on. We can't touch those numbers. And so I don't know exactly what they spent, but I know the ballpark figures that pitching commands in the portal. If you're a pitcher in the portal and you got decent numbers, you're going to get a lot of money. So I know they spend it. So Tulane's deeper on the mound. ECU's always good, right? Like you can start with them and just kind of say, here's ECU and like what's the rest of the league like. But Tulane's good. Wichita State's winning a bunch of games. They kind of turned their whole roster over, it looked like, through the portal. So, and they're winning a bunch of games. So it looks deep. I don't see a lot of bad teams. David over there at Rice is doing what I thought he would do, and he's just getting them to play very fundamental, solid baseball. They look like they can pitch and play defense. Rice does. So they're improved. So it looks like a good league.
Does anything change from a coaching perspective or what you guys tell the team ahead of now? Hey, this is a conference series. This is where the season is made or lost. Does anything change there?
I mean, well, yeah, they know. I mean, not really like in terms of like there's not a lot of talking about it, but they know. Like it's conference now, so you might use the pitching a little different. Whereas I might have saved somebody for a Tuesday if it was Texas Tech or something. Like there's no saving arms. They understand all that. The players do. So not a ton different, but we hope to walk 3 people or less and make 1 error or less and fight with the bat. That's still the recipe we're going to talk the most about.
Awesome. Do we have any other questions? JJ.
Pat, I wanted to ask you about the home runs. It seems like you guys are on pace to either, tie or set a record there. And you got Jason Thompson with that home run challenge. You guys are making the most of that. What's been the secret there?
Yeah, when Jason offered to do that, I was so grateful that I told the guys, hey, let's make it a little expensive on him. Tongue in cheek, I didn't expect us to hit this many home runs, but yeah, Jason's been very grateful, very supportive of us ever since last season when we made the run. Him and I talked, and he's just very, very supportive. We're so lucky we have him. So, yeah, no, it's not that easy. It's not just like, hey, go hit home runs and Jason's going to give us all this money. We're just trying to put together good at-bats, right? Like all coaches would say the same thing. We're not trying to hit home runs. We do talk a little bit about hitting in our legs, which will keep the ball off the ground some. And, we got some personnel that can do it. Guys like Drew Detlefson and Andrew Stuckey and others. So, but Jason's been wonderful. I can't say enough how much his support and the support of others mean to us. So we are grateful.
Pat, my last question for you. I know you're busy in your season and you got a lot going on every day, but you been able to pay attention to what Karen's been able to do with the women's basketball coach, and just what are your thoughts on her?
A little bit. It's fabulous. Really cool to watch. They just play with so much energy and defense and grit. They're a fun team to watch. I love that part of basketball with the gritty every possession, like when they break it down possession by possession and they make that other team work for every single basket, which is why I like college basketball a little better than at least regular season NBA game. But yeah, super happy for Karen. I'm not surprised. Karen's as gritty as they come. So, but they're fun to watch, the defense they play. Yeah.
Awesome, Coach. Well, thank you for your time. Best of luck this week, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.